Hey guys, and welcome to World of Warships with Wulavu. In today's replay I want to show you a gameplay of my Shokaku engagement from a couple of days ago. I don't take out carriers into battle that often these days. I believe that wargaming has achieved its goal and basically discouraged people from carrier gameplay. And yeah, it still is my favorite class in the whole game, and I believe that it taught me a lot on how to approach other classes and sailing them. So yeah, I took it out just for for the fun of it, and I landed on this map, and I forgot the name of the map, but it doesn't matter. So okay, so I'm first of all, a disclaimer: I'm not Erun or Papedi Pupi or some other extremely pro minded CV player. I'm just an average Joe kind of a player. I just really enjoy the gameplay. So don't expect any kind of stellar results, because there's not going to be any here in terms of carrier gameplay. So with that in mind, I want to talk you through my way of approaching carrier gameplay. So I'm squared up against a Lexington, which is really important because Lexington fighters are quite a formidable force, and this is the first time I'm taking out this Shokaku. The captain of this Shokaku this time has actually got the 5th perk, which adds an extra fighter to each squadron and also an extra bomber to each squadron. That's only for dive bombers, of course. The torpedo bombers still remain at 4 per squadron. So yeah, so I want to test that out. So okay, so I'm sending out my torpedo bombers as kind of a bait right now. I want to see what he's gonna be doing. I need to be defensive because he does have, he should have air superiority over me. So I'm slowly sending out my fighters to those 2 groups of on my fleet, basically just to state my presence and make sure that they don't appear with an easy prey for an attack force. And I'm monitoring where those 2 fighters are moving, and they're quite far apart, and this is where I decide to make a trap on the southern squadron of fighters. I'm still baiting the northern one with my torpedo and dive bomber groups, and now I'm sending them back, and I take both of the fighters and just jump that Lexington fighter group. And I think by the speed of how quickly I shred those fighters, I believe that this Lexington was a stock Lexington with stock fighters, because this is just impossible. Just look at this, they're gonna melt away. And that shouldn't happen with Lexington fighters. So anyways, I'm shredding these 2 pieces and engaging the 2nd squadron. I'm thinking, where should I send my torpedo and dive bombers? Ideally, you want to fight. You want to hunt destroyers, or if you can spot a chance, if you can spot early on a battleship that is alone, you want to torpedo that battleship first and then hold with your dive bombers. And the moment the flooding from the attack is being repaired, you count 20 seconds and then you send your torpedo bombers, set their ship on fire, and you can do just a massive amount of damage like that with just 1 attack if you're patient enough. But that depends, yes. So you need to have air superiority for this to be done in peace and quiet, or you have to be Aaron, because I can't do that if I have to compete with a very competent and very deadly American aircraft carrier. So I see that Hatsuharu here, and then I drop quickly because the Hatsuharu is stationary, so it's almost 100% sure kill, but somebody takes it off before. So that squadron is en route to the carrier. I don't have to worry about changing its course en route. Something you need to keep in mind often. Sometimes you don't want to send those planes in this straight way. You can add waypoints by using shift, and it really is helpful. So I'm sending my dive bombers the long way around. They are supposed to spot the carrier. I know that they must be getting close now. And the torpedo bomber group is basically just kind of strafing on the side here, probing the area. My fighters had to get recovered, but that's only after slaughtering 12 planes of the enemy, so that's 2 full squadrons. So he recycled his squadrons and the fighter forces in the air again. I just spotted the enemy Lexington, and he's quite well protected. There's quite a lot of ships. You can't go through the middle, so you kind of have to go around. This is a good position for him to make sure that he spots any sort of attack done by me. So I'm kind of moving back. I'm trying to reposition myself, and I'm waiting for the other torpedo squadron to be recycled. But I'm gonna send it all the way through the left, and basically I'm coordinating everything in a way that if I want to invert everything that I just told you about how to do a proper attack on a battleship. Basically, I want to set this carrier on fire first, and by the time he repairs, I want to have first and then the second torpedo squadron over to attack him and just give him some flooding damage. It's not ideal. I would prefer to have it the other way around. First flooding, then fire, because that way I could actually kill him in just one attack. This is the exact recipe for aircraft carriers sniping, and that's exactly how you snipe an aircraft carrier right at the beginning of the match. So yeah, and that this is, as you can see, those two bomber squadrons are going straight over the enemy fleet, and this is completely on purpose because I have 14 bombers left in my carrier. It's just faster for me to kill those that are empty that I just used up and start preparing a new group. As you can see, the first group is already recycling. It's a minute away from taking off. So that's how you save time, and that's how you make sure that you always have the maximum amount of planes in the air. It matters, preserving your airplanes matters more in lower tiers. The tier 7 carries absolutely yes, still, but tier 8 you can start to be a bit more generous when in your losses. So as I wanted, I've already used my dive bombers. Now I'm using my torpedo bombers. I'm using manual drops to make them tighter. The Lexington has got really powerful AA, so you have to be really quick about doing your business with your torpedoes, because he'll shred your planes to bits if you give him a chance. So both of these drops were a little bit hurried, but they had no choice, and they still managed to take away quite a significant part of the ship's life. And he is flooding, so I hope that well, I doubt I'm gonna kill this carrier with this attack, but it'll be very, very low in health. So, position-wise, I've already reached this area here, and I've been there for a while. I'm thinking maybe I should reposition, because that Benson on the left is a little bit too close for my liking. So, the second course that I'm plotting right now takes me between those islands. I think it's rather safe. I go at full speed and forget about my carrier for the next 5 or so minutes. So I'm sending both of my fighter squadrons to intercept the enemy squadron. Now I'm quite confident about winning, and as you can see again, I'm just shredding those planes to pieces. These must be the unupgraded fighters on the Lexington. So now I know that the Lexington must be getting a bit low on fighter planes. Maybe the second squadron is not going to be at full strength anymore, even after recycling. So that's already good news. A little bit of cinematics for you guys just to enjoy the views. Looks a little bit like Malta, I think. And yeah, so what's next? My fighters are finishing off that fight they started on left bottom corner, and I'm taking that turpits on in my scopes, and I'm just about to do a manual drop from this side, which is also a very effective drop. That way you can actually space your bomb attacks a bit better, because that way you can predict a bit better which part, the front, center, or the rear, you will actually affect with your bombs, and that way you set more fires. Enemy turpits eats a whole load of and other torpedoes, so I'm changing my target. I just move these away. And I don't have any fighters around, and there's a fighter squadron harassing one of my torpedo bombers. So I'm sending him north, and now I'm changing my mind. I'm sending the other torpedo group south, because it's just one fighter group, so they cannot split too much, so he has to choose. And he chooses to pursue the one that is closer to his fleet. It's a wise choice. So check out that Pensacola at the bottom of the screen, with which is almost dead. We will have some doings with that Pensacola in a second as well. So I do a quick drop on the North Carolina, only 2 torpedoes, because the North Carolina has got really good AA. You need to watch out for that. You quickly learn how to avoid ships that have got good AA if you want to play higher tier carriers. You really need to know what you're doing there, and you need to know where you're sending your planes, and just watch out which cruisers are in the area. So next one is Izumo, but I knew that this squadron was doomed from the beginning. There was no way I could have saved both of them, so if he decided to pursue one of my squadrons, I knew that I was sacrificing it, so that was not a problem. But now my fighters are back, and his fighters have spent quite a lot of its ammunition. So the fighters that are just arriving, I should actually be switching to these, because the other ones may not have any ammunition left, and it would be just beneficial to engage the ones that can actually do damage to you. So I kind of neglected this dive bomber group here, but I'm doing a manual drop on North Carolina, and as you can see, when the Carolina is moving quite slow, you can actually quite plan where you want your bombs to drop if you drop them from the side. This is obviously a manual drop that we're talking about. So I set that North Carolina on fire, and I know that she's gonna die, because I know that she's used her repair kit, but somebody picks her up anyway. So now a manual drop on a cruiser, and that one's gone as well. And now we're nearing the end of the battle. My fighters are still engaging the enemy fighters. Both of those enemy fighter groups should be empty now, and they should be needing to go back to the carrier to recycle. I do not want to kill them, I just want them to be stalled for as long as possible, because I want to have the sky clear. So 2 of my torpedo squadrons are en route to the northern chunk of the enemy leftovers. And Atlanta and New Orleans, these are both very AA heavy cruisers, so they are definitely far away from being ideal targets, but they are the last targets that are there. So I'm obviously going to send my planes over, even if only for the sake of providing a distraction and speeding up my team's win. So the other 2 ships have died in just a very short time. My torpedo bombers aren't coming in, So I know that the New Orleans will be aware of me, so I'm maneuvering in a way to make the North Carolina's life a bit easier. I just want the New Orleans to maneuver towards my torpedo bombers, which is the best defense against torpedoes. And that way he would have to show a broadside to North Carolina. So that is something that you should be considering whenever you're playing a carrier. And also you need to watch out to not torpedo your friendlies, because that can happen as well. And that's the battle over. And moving on to the final battle results screens. As I said at the beginning, I'm definitely not some sort of a pro carrier player. I'm just your average Joe player, so don't expect stellar results. So just a quick recap of the stats: 196,000 of profit on a tier 8 carrier play, just under 6,500 of experience, 6 torpedo hits and 14 manual bomb hits, and the manual ones usually yield quite a lot of damage. We'll come back to this in a second. 23 airplanes shot down. That could have been a much higher number if the enemy carrier was also a Shokaku. So I set ships on fire 5 times, and this is a really good thing. The flooding and the fire, as I said before, are an excellent way of accumulating damage. If you have any questions about how to be an excellent performing carrier player, I refer you to Arun's channel. I hope I'm pronouncing his nickname the right way. The link I'm providing here in this box is going to lead to one of my favorite of his carrier matches. I learned a lot from his gameplay, and I recommend watching him if you would like to learn more about how to be a really good carrier player. So moving on to the basic experience. I get a 3rd place and 1400 of experience. And moving on to the damage. Flooding's 22,000, nearly 23, only 6,000 from fires, because as I said, I was sort of forced to do this attack run on the carrier, sort of upside down, instead of first flooding and then setting on fire. I first set on fire, then flooded. And so most of that flooding will be from the Lexington. And then just check this out: 14 bomb hits, 14 dive bomb hits, and that's 17,500 of damage. People really underestimate the power of those dive bombers, even the Japanese ones, because the American ones are even better. And torpedo hits 38,000, just under 39,000. So all of this came up to 85,173, which is a very mediocre result. But I thought that since I am doing sort of a how-to on all of the other classes, and the carriers are the class that I'm playing as well, so I thought I would give you my thoughts on these as well. But I honestly refer you to Arun's channel, and you will learn how to be a much better carrier player. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please do give it a like down below. It definitely helps the channel out, it motivates me to come up with new content. And also definitely think about hitting the subscribe button at the top there if you think you'd like to see more of my materials, because I will be posting many more of these. So for now, all I can say is thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the open seas.